Citizen Kane, but even critics have claimed that it was shit in its day. Some films are shit and shit they will stay, but some get better over time because of Nicolas Cage. So which film stays shit forever? And which one's got a little bit better? Second chance movies. No poor bloods were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Welcome to Second Chance Movies, the podcast where we rewatch movies and decide if they deserve a second chance.
I'm Joe Harper, your host who loves rewatching movies and watching SNL clips not live, but on YouTube.
And I'm Jessica Quiles, your host who's a one and done kind of movie viewer who does all her own stunts. And today we are giving a second chance to MacGruber.
Yes, I have been begging Jessica to watch this movie for some time now.
Yes.
I love MacGruber. It's one of my favorite comedies of recent years. I've rediscovered it later in life, and it's my go-to movie to put on if I can't find anything within 10 minutes of searching. I'll just put on MacGruber.
MacGruber was an SNL skit that became a movie, which happens a lot. We have a lot of those types of movies.
Back in 2010.
So, wow, over a decade old already, which is insane. When it came out, it wasn't well received.
Correct. And what's even more crazier is they, 11 years later, released a TV show, 8 episodes of MacGruber on Peacock. I subscribed to Peacock just to watch my MacGruber.
Tell us about your love for MacGruber and how you got here.
Well, how I got here? Man, this is a long story. This might just take up the whole episode. I think I watched that movie back in when it released, and I just thought it was okay. It was funny, but it didn't get me. I think my love for Will Forte started with Brothers Solomon. I, of course, liked him on a lot of the SNL sketches. MacGruber specifically, The Falconer is a lot of fun as well. He's just a really goofy guy. But in college, I saw a movie called The Brothers Solomon, and I love that movie. Again, it's another comedy that went under everyone's radar. It's probably really low on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes me sad, but I love it. It's another one I quote a lot. And so back in the early 2010s, Will Forte has a show, Last Man on Earth. I watched that. It's one of my favorite shows. And so I think I saw it on some sort of streaming service to purchase. And I was like, you know what? I want to see MacGruber again. Now that I've watched Last Man on Earth and I get a real sense of Forte, let me enjoy this. And it's just Forte to the max. It's great. It became the one that it's my go-to rewatch all the time now. I've watched it at least 10 times this year.
This past year alone, you've watched
at least once
times.
A month. I'll just set it on in the background. Probably gotta clean up the house. I'm music, or you know what? I'll just put on MacGruber.
You really are the cheerleader for MacGruber. So this is my first time watching the movie. I do remember the SNL sketches, and I loved those. Those were always hilarious and funny. And I remember when a movie was in the works, it was really cool and exciting. And then when the movie came out and it was so panned by audiences and critics, I was sort of well, I guess I don't care to see that. Whatever.
Audiences really hate SNL movies.
They really do. It's really strange because some are now iconic and then others fly under the radar. But usually at the time of their release, they're not super well received. And I think this was one of them where now it sort of does have a cult following, at least enough for Peacock to want to put a show out. Joe has been really pressing this movie. So I finally sat down and watched MacGruber.
Guys, spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about MacGruber in depth, hopefully. It'll be spoiled. So if you haven't seen MacGruber yet, do yourself a favor and watch MacGruber. And for those of you who have seen the movie and forgot what MacGruber is all about, let me read you the synopsis. Former special operative MacGruber is called back into action to take down his arch enemy, Dieter von Kuntz, who's in possession of a nuclear warhead and bent on destroying Washington, D.C. Yeah, that's good enough for me
Yeah.
as a description.
Yeah.
It's also a parody of like an established like 80s show MacGyver.
I don't find the overall plot of like the movie beginning to end mattering so much because it's all silly and dumb. It's
Yeah.
more like the situational, like what are we doing in this moment that like matters more than the actual plot. So I guess as a synopsis, like, yeah, this is what's going on, but like it doesn't really matter.
For those who did like it, let's read what they had to say. Paul Gent of the Daily Telegraph, a brash, intermittently funny, but predictably disposable movie, just about good enough for a switch off brain DVD rental.
Wow. So
That was positive.
it was positive but rude also. Just calling a movie disposable, like man, that's ooh.
I do
Ooh.
think it is like turn off your brain and just have fun.
Yeah,
Just
I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't
w-
think like it's a bad thing at all. Like if that is escapism, like literally just turn off your brain, forget about everything and just laugh. Like that's not bad. That's not a bad thing at all. All right, Jim Lane from the Sacramento News and Review wrote, "Very funny, though not for the prim or prudish." Which I would agree.
Well, I mean, I think any prim and prude person just avoid movies in general.
Yeah.
Avoid everything if you're prim and prude. You're never gonna like anything.
Yeah, especially a comedy like this. Just don't even watch it. It's not for you.
Joe Berkowitz of New York Magazine / Vulture. Any fans of satire who haven't checked out MacGruber yet, prepare to be converted into believers like the man himself when he finally uses a gun for the first time.
Oh my God, it's true. I mean, we're in the cult of MacGruber now. Like, he is our chosen one.
I can see that. You have the outfit.
I'm dressed like him. Bill Gibron with Pop Matters wrote, "MacGruber is a movie that knows it's dumb because it's so smart." Smart, and which is true for like especially like a parody or satire like this. Like there has to be a level of purposeful stupidity because the thing you're making fun of is
Yeah.
stupid.
All right. We've had a good chuckle at all these positive. I think it's time to see what I don't want to hear. Negative reviews on
I
MacGruber.
know you're gonna work through this. It's gonna be okay. We just have to be non-biased and listen to what others said.
I'll start us off.
Okay.
Matt Brunson of Film Frenzy. Viewers will eventually be struck by the realization that Requiem for a Dream and Precious, based on the novel Push by Sapphire, combined contain more belly laughs.
Oh my God.
This person is evil.
Evil. Evil. Have you seen either of those movies? They're not. Oh my God.
They're
Why
not funny.
bring them into this, sir? No. Rick Groan with Globe and Mail wrote, "It's McAwful." Okay, Christopher Tukey from the Daily Mail UK wrote, "Will Forte, who hasn't starred in a movie before and looks extremely unlikely to do so again, lacks the slightest vestige of credibility or charm as MacGruber. He also co-wrote the script. Let's just say comedy is not Forte's forte."
That's so wrong.
It's
On
really wrong, my dude.
so many levels, it's so wrong. Forte is one of the funniest writers out there.
Truly, he's
in
so
my
funny.
my humble opinion.
Well, I think objectively he is good at comedy. I mean, you don't get to where he's at in the comedy game if you're not good at it.
He's in Nebraska, and
Oh,
he does
that's
a
right.
great job in Nebraska.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's great. I can't say anything negative about him. So I found, unfortunately, a negative review.
Oh no.
Written by our favorite reviewist, which may become my mortal enemy now. No, Minnow.
Oh no.
I haven't read it yet. I was saving my reaction to reading it now.
Oh no.
A one joke SNL skit based on a television series that ended in 1992, has been turned into a no-joke movie that ended 99 painful minutes after it began.
Well, like half of it's not wrong because it's facts.
Yeah,
So
it was 99 minutes.
it was 99 minutes and it is from an SNL skit and based off a TV show. So she's
no
not
joke?
wrong. No joke.
There was nothing in this movie you found funny. I can't believe that that's true.
Not a single one. Not a single one in those 99 minutes.
I just believe Nell just sat there and just straight faced and this is a movie. All right. Well, I'm done talking negatively about this movie. I want to talk positively about this movie. This is the moment I personally have been waiting for. Jessica's review of this movie.
Yeah.
I have not talked to her since she has watched it.
So I thought it was funny. My vibe going into it was just open to laugh and see what this is all about.
Yeah.
Maybe that was slightly skewed because you have talked about this movie so highly. So I was like, I'm just gonna laugh.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go in and laugh. And
turn that brain off and enjoy.
Yes. And I think now more than ever, we need more movies like that where you can just sort of disassociate from like the world around you and just laugh at a movie. So I enjoyed that definitely, and like the humor it brought to me. One thing I really, really like about this movie is that the cast, everyone from like Forte and Wig and Ryan Felipe down to like the tiniest like one scene characters seems to understand the tone of this movie. Like everyone seems on the same page where they know they are making something that's ridiculous and over the top and like parody and like it's just like silly. I enjoyed that. Like there wasn't really anyone that I felt like did not get it. I felt like everyone was getting what they were going for.
Fun fact, I was reading a lot of fun facts about this movie. Val Kilmer and Powers Booth were both told in pre-production meetings with Forte and Tacone, the director, to act like you're in a Joel Silver produced film in 1988. So just like action heavy, just like you're serious, and like they did it. It's I think that's what makes it really funny is get like a really serious actor to play straight, because I find a lot of the humor comes from those straight characters not either supporting MacGruber, like MacGruber, you're an asset, like we love you, and then to where Ryan Philippe's character is kind of like, you fucking idiot, like he's essentially the audience just having to put up with MacGruber. And a lot of the hit harder from at least for me. I think Ryan Philippe is just really underrated in this movie because to be the straight guy opposed to Forte's super obnoxious over the top MacGruber.
I would agree. I think the people playing it straight are just as important for this kind of movie. And particularly with like Powers Booth and Val Kilmer, they are very serious. Like you said, they were told to do so. And that level of seriousness is needed when you're doing a spoof like this, because no matter sort of like what the situation is or what character dialogue is, like they have to play it like this is very serious, and that's what makes it silly. I think everyone was just like on the same page. That credit might go to Forte and the director for making sure like every character knew what they were supposed to be doing.
It's hard to look at this movie objectively anyway. What I can do is say the thing that I dread saying, critiquing this movie. I watched this movie and thought, like, if I had to change one thing, what would I do? How would I fix this? It doesn't need fixing, but like, if I had to, what's the thing I struggle with most while watching this? And I can tell you right now, it's like the first 10 minutes. Not funny. I just want to joke in there. I think the thing I don't like, again, one of my favorite movies. So
It's okay. Yeah,
it's
you can.
painful to say to me.
I know, but it's
the
okay.
the first opening sequence has like the Val Kilmer's like villains team taking a bomb. It really doesn't give us any information that we aren't told later. It doesn't have any jokes because like some Russian guys like says like please don't in like Russian. And he's I don't speak Russian and shoots him. Not funny. Um, so I would take that scene out entirely because you're just wasting production filming in a desert. Not necessary. And just jump to like MacGruber, we need you because of this. And then
Right.
we get kind of explained why. And then Kunt is kind of like a mysterious person who later revealed is not that shitty, just like money over everything. But MacGruber is definitely the one that wronged him.
I actually completely agree with that. One of the only critiques I had watching it this time was that the opening is a little boring. And then I literally wrote, but around the 10-minute mark is when it like really picks up and it gets over the top in a way that it needs to be. So I would agree if we can just cut all that out. I don't think we should have opened with our villain at all. It's MacGruber.
Yeah.
Open with him.
Unless our villain is doing something super dastardly or interesting, or had like a because we get the aftermath of the attack to steal it, of the nuclear warhead. And why didn't we show up after that? Let's see the action, and then we get tricked later, maybe that, oh yeah, it's a goofy comedy, not an action movie. I think it's just really just to establish he's evil. He just shot somebody, but like, I know if he's MacGruber's arch nemesis and stealing a warhead, he's not good. Like I already know. I get it.
Yeah, I don't think we need it to be shown to us because it's kind of
I'd rather keep it a
known.
mystery that like is Kunt really a bad person?
Even though it was my first time around, I was trying to sort of see like what people didn't like about it and just kind of explore how I felt about it.
Sure.
And aside from just like preference of humor and like subjectivity of what you find funny or don't, like I don't know. I did have some issues like trying to figure out why did people not like this?
Do you think people will not like this?
I don't know. I don't know. Because the first opening is really forgivable. Like you forget that it's kind of lame. And
we got to establish something, but once
Yeah.
we get laughing, we're
in it.
I
We're
think
there.
the biggest opening laugh, or at least that gets me, MacGruber like creates a whole team. Of like he's getting his team to stop Kunt, and he gets all these cameos from like wrestlers, like pro wrestlers. We get a really fun exchange with Chris Jericho, but the big laugh and the payoff is like he's just like he's just like shit talking with Piper, like, hey, you know what? You're not on the team. I assembled my own team, and you can't ride in the trunk, bud, because it's filled with C4 explosives that I built with my own two. Van explodes, killing his entire team. They get like 5 minutes of screen time and they're dead. That's like the hardest laugh for me. That he kills his team almost instantly.
Yeah.
And then from that moment, MacGruber's a fucking idiot. And just from there on out, he just can do whatever stupid thing he wants.
Yeah, and I think like I found that to be really funny, and the whole montage like building up to him like assembling his team was like very parody of like 80s movies. It lasts way too long, like on purpose. I think maybe one thing that others could have had an issue with is the plot, but I found like myself not really getting the plot, but also recognizing that I don't know if it's necessary with a movie like this, because what matters.
Did you not understand about the plot?
I know like the basic idea was like, okay, stop the bad guy with the bomb.
That's all you need to know.
I'm trying to find reasons why people didn't like this movie, and one
that it was
thing,
so basic of a plot.
Maybe
that's fine because the hilarity is on the way to solving the plot.
Yeah, the for this kind of movie, the plot doesn't. I don't like to say it doesn't matter, because it's still a movie, it's still a story, but it's more of understanding the situation they're currently in than like how does this one situation affect the whole movie. You don't really need that, and so I didn't take an issue with that. Like, there were some times where I was like, wait, what is he trying to do again? Oh yeah, this. But
The
it
whole
never went.
baseline is he's trying to stop Dieter von Kunt from blowing up DC. Simple.
Mhm.
He just has to find Kunt, and his way of getting there is the worst like trail possible.
Yeah, it's all over the place, but it's meant to be so.
Yeah, because he's
Um,
an idiot and he just makes wrong choices. What moments tickled your funny bone the most?
so one thing that I thought was really hilarious, and it's sort of it has its own little journey throughout the movie, is MacGruber not knowing how to shoot a gun and just watching him try to figure it out, and then when he does, he's like really bad at it. Like, I also
Just
loved
waving
that.
his hands above his head.
It's like really sloppy and messy. I liked within that there was a joke. It's really subtle. Like, he just like throws the guns dramatically. The next scene that I found really funny is Ryan Philippe just being like, why'd you get rid of those guns?
Where'd the guns go?
It's such a simple joke, but like there's been so many of those like weird over the top action movies where someone uses the gun and then just throws it, and you think like, dude, what? Hold on to that gun. Like, that
You
happens
might find
in
some
movies
ammo.
so much.
Where are the guns?
Yeah.
It is a really quick throwaway line that's funny. Like, again, I think Philippe does a great job of just quick, dry, that like he's a scene stealer that I think doesn't get recognized for this as well as he
Yeah.
should.
There's also a really funny moment in that where when MacGruber's also like just starting to shoot a gun, he like turns to Philippe and is like, I did it, I got him. And he's like, actually, I think I got him. But
Yeah, I
okay.
think but good, yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Like, he's just like, yeah, the delivery of like some throwaway lines are really funny on his end because he just gets how he's supposed to be reacting. But it's also like what Philippe's doing is also like it's funny, but it also appears to be simple.
Yeah.
And there's something within the simplicity of calling out MacGruber that is really funny on his end.
What do you think of Kristen Wiig in this?
So I like Kristen Wiig in general. I will say that. I think she's really funny in a lot of situations she's in. I don't really have a strong opinion about her either way in this movie. I think she also is really funny bouncing off the humor in the movie, but I also just don't. I find her character to be a little forgettable, which is interesting.
It's not Wiig, because Wiig is hilarious,
right?
But I think it was more so like, you're the person I was doing this with on SNL, and so we got you to play like the love interest partner person and extend the role of just like 20 seconds, MacGruber. She's hilarious. I just think the character is more of a like a prop in the movie for him.
Yeah.
Like, it's more funny like the things that happen to her rather than what she's, because there's nothing for, but I think she does contribute a lot to like the writing, at least for like back and forth. I've heard a lot of, again, I listen to a lot of interviews with Forte, and she gives a lot of feedback, and they make that character fun. But like her dressing up as MacGruber, just
the way she acts that out is also really funny.
I think one of the best scenes in the movie is her like in the coffee shop being MacGruber, and MacGruber like, no, Vicky, don't do that. Don't leave that tip. He feels bad about having sex with her because he's still in love with his dead wife, who Maya Rudolph. She was originally, I think, in the SNL sketches. Maybe I don't know. She like left the show, and that's why Wiig replaced her. But the explanation in the movie is she got blown up by Kunt, and so like, okay, we saw the reason why it switched over to Vicky. So, if they ever make a second MacGruber movie, I hope they let Kristen Wiig, just have more fun with the role. Be silly.
Yeah.
I did watch the show, and I think I share the same opinion on the show. I don't think they give her enough free roam to just be Kristen Wiig goofy, because like she's good. She's always gives a great performance. I just don't think the character of Vicky St. Elmo does much. I think she's just a quiet, reserved person, and with a loudmouth like MacGruber, it's just she's overshadowed a lot. What other things did you like?
So we already touched on him, but I just want to bring it back up because I really liked Val Kilmer in this movie. I didn't realize he was the villain. I didn't know that, so that was just like a fun. I wish they had changed the opening though, so I didn't know right away that he was our villain.
Wow, did I not tell you that? That's crazy.
Maybe you did, and I just blocked it out. I don't know.
I feel like that's one of those secrets. I think it's best that you just discover on your own.
It's really funny, and it fits so well with this like parody of 80s serious action movies. While he's playing it very serious and like, very serious villain, Val Kilmer seems to also be having a lot of fun playing a parody of a villain, which I really enjoy watching because I feel like he's in on the joke with everyone else and knows like what they're trying to achieve here in terms of like silliness. One thing I will say is like the villain's motivation is not the most like unique thing in the world. Like he is motivated by money, but like I think that's fine because we see that a lot, like greed in a villain. So that's the point, since it's a parody, like his motivation can be really basic.
He definitely looks like he's like playing around and being goofy. Like he just looks like he's just having a silly old time being like a Bond villain.
Yeah, I feel like that's something we've very rarely ever really seen from him, right? Like I don't remember him in a lot of comedies or, being known for a comedy
he's
movie.
more like action or like drama.
Yeah.
He was Batman at one point.
That's right, he sure was. Oh, I read a fun fact about him because like after I watched him, I was like, what's up? What's Val Kilmer's deal? Like, how's he doing? He did not know this, was considered for both Keanu roles in Point Break and The Matrix. So we almost had him in 2 Keanu movies instead of Keanu.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm trying to imagine The Matrix with Val Kilmer and I don't see it.
What was the other one you named?
Point Break.
Oh. Ooh. Oh no.
Yeah. So
I couldn't see him in either one of those.
No, I couldn't.
Point Break is perfect. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, no, we don't need to change it.
I think one of the biggest ongoing gags in this movie is there's I guess MacGruber's pulling up to like a club in his car, and some guy goes, "Fuck you," or nice. He goes, "Nice car, asshole." Fuck you. And then he reads the license plate. Just has it over and over in his head. KFBR 392, KFBR 392, KFBR 392, and just constantly is doing that. And it's a gag throughout the movie where like Ryan Piper finds a journal and it's just every page is that written over and over and over again. A drawing of MacGruber shitting on that car, and then the payoff, we get him. He reunites with that car and gets to fuck that car up. So stupid. This petty, super petty, angry revenge based off some guy just going, "Nice car, asshole."
Yeah, and it's also like a really subtle way of reminding us like how much our hero sucks. Like he's just not a good person. He really sucks. Because when the guy walks up to his car on fire, he's like, "Hey, what'd you do to my car?" Like he doesn't remember this weird throwaway moment. Like MacGruber's been obsessed with him. It's so funny. So I will say one thing that surprised me, it didn't bother me at all, but it surprised me was there was a lot more violence in this movie than I thought there would be.
Are you speaking specifically of all the throat rips?
Yeah, there's a lot of throat rips.
I am gonna want to get a throat rip in. It's probably gonna be you.
There was one point where he's got like 2 throats in his hand, and that's the moment I realized, oh yeah, this is a pretty violent movie. So maybe that's one reason why people were not a huge fan.
Approving of that moment.
Wouldn't like the violence at all.
I will say, because I did watch the show, it's way more violent.
In the show?
Somehow throat rips it goes beyond throat rips.
Wow. Okay, so I want to ask you a hard question.
Sure.
So we all know you love MacGruber. We're not asking you to disavow MacGruber in any way, but I'm curious, as someone like you who really, really likes this movie, who's now like in the cult of MacGruber, well, why do you think so many people didn't like it?
Because they're fucking idiots. They're fucking stupid. They don't like to laugh. It's probably gonna be. They just don't like something goofy and silly that sometimes is gross. Because like the throat rip is gross, but it's also funny because it's so dumb that like someone is going around just ripping throats out. That's something that could turn people off. I think a lot of it is just how stupid he is. Is probably they don't want to sit through a movie where the lead character is someone they're like, I would not follow this guy anywhere. He's an idiot. I can separate that. It's just like I'm like watching some fucking idiot do his thing for 99 minutes. Like, it's fine with me. I get that he's dumb.
That's an interesting point. I didn't think about that because you're right. Like, he's our hero of the movie, but he's so unlikable also. But for me, it was like unlikable in a funny way. So I was okay with that.
The joke is clearly pointed at he's an idiot, and a lot of people respect him for being like this, like all this valor and like medal award winning. But he's really, I don't know how he gets all those because he's never used the gun. He also is just fucking bad at everything he does. So I don't know how he won all these awards. It is so decorated, you know?
I find that funny. For like movies in general, it is more palatable when you have like certain, I don't want to say stereotypes, but just like certain elements of like your good guy and the bad guy, and that's what they are separate. Like there's no like nuance.
More recently with movies like a movie like The Joker, where it's like a kind of a despicable person, where I guess he's more down on his luck. But we've got a lot of movies lately where we're like, let's follow the villain, or let's make the villain like a more likable person. Like Cruella, I think was a good example. Like, why did we make a movie about some woman that just wants to skin dogs? I didn't need that movie. I had fun watching it. MacGruber might fall into that category of like, I don't really want to follow or watch this movie about someone I don't like. Especially if he's not up your alley of humor, then you're really out of it. So, does MacGruber deserve a second chance?
I say absolutely it does. I thought it was really funny. There's very few things I didn't like about this movie. And the very few things that I didn't like are very forgivable. It does not ruin the movie at all. I don't know why people were so against this because I had a good time watching it. I think it's just a really good movie to forget about your stress and just giggle and accept something dumb and just laugh at it. I would also implore you just to go back and watch some of the SNL sketches of it because those are also really funny.
The two that stick out in my mind as like the best ones to watch are Betty White.
Yes.
And then Charles Barkley has a really good one.
I think you should just go back and give MacGruber a second chance all around as a character, as a concept, the sketches, the movie.
It looks like the world is ready to give MacGruber a second chance because he did get revived after 11 years to do a show. He got 8 episodes on Peacock.
So, Joe.
Yes.
I know this is going to be a tough question for you to answer.
I think I'll manage it.
Do you think MacGruber deserves a second chance?
You bet your ass it does. MacGruber is one of just the funniest movies. It just tickles my funny bone in a way that other movies don't get, especially with rewatch. Like, this is a movie I can rewatch a lot because it still makes me laugh. I think it really is Forte's delivery of most of the lines, and Philippe's, delivery of the lines, and Kilmer's and Wig. Like, I love them all. And if you're there for like a serious, like, I need the best of the movie ever, get the fuck out. You don't deserve MacGruber.
Yeah, don't go in with like a critical eye because this movie doesn't necessarily need that.
It's just a fun, silly movie.
Yeah, just have fun with it. Just have fun with it. There's nothing wrong with fun and silliness.
MacGruber.
Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Second Chance Movies. As always, you can find everything down in the show notes. If you want to see me dressed as MacGruber, go ahead and watch us on YouTube. You can also find our social medias and our links to everything down in the show notes or the description. A big thank you, as always, to Beaty McBeatface for our dope theme song. If you've been watching us or listening to us, please go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, a review. Really helps the channel. And we'll be back next week with another Second Chance movie.
Second chance